Okay, everybody. Welcome to the review of this week and the review of this first unit 7A, listening to lectures. Okay, so I'm going to just talk through what we've covered in this unit and then any or some ongoing tasks. Okay, so in this lecture we talked about lectures and the fact that they often contain a large amount of information delivered over a long period of time. So the need for you to develop note-taking strategies that mean you can write quickly while you listen. And so, as I said in the class, like a normal length for a lecture might be 50 minutes to 1 hour, but they can often be longer as well and can be up to 2 hours long. And in fact, at the Institute of Ismaili Studies, generally the lectures tend to be 2 hours long. So you can see it's really important to develop these kind of note-taking strategies. One of the strategies you can use is using abbreviations and symbols as you take notes. And of course, in this lecture, we talked about these 12 symbols and abbreviations, such as the number, equals, in other words. But what you'll find, I think, is that you also begin to use your own kind of abbreviations and symbols as you practice this more and more. And you may also find that in your discipline of education or your discipline of Islamic studies, there are symbols and abbreviations that are commonly used as well. So when you're listening to a lecture, you might find that the lecturer is offering a certain position or a certain stance. So it's important that you learn to identify different positions presented in that lecture. And you also need to recognize any supporting explanations, examples, so you can evaluate the argument of the lecturer and also evaluate the strength of that lecturer's argument. So this module covered the using abbreviations and symbols to take notes, identifying support for a position or a stance on the part of the lecturer, and identifying examples and explanations in a lecture. We also, this week, there was this independent study. So this is another strategy that you might follow when you're listening to a lecture, when you're preparing for a lecture. So often you'll know the topic of a lecture at the start of term or the week before, and that means you can kind of try to prepare for that lecture by reading around the subject. Think about key words that you might hear the lecturer say. You might also find the reading list quite helpful. So the reading list might help you try to predict what's in the lecture. And just spending a few minutes before that lecture thinking about what the content could be might be quite a helpful way of giving you an advance kind of warning of what you're going to hear. Okay, so moving on then to identifying the supporting points and recognizing examples and explanations. So in task 6, you of course broke down and looked at some different phrases that are used by lecturers to introduce examples and different phrases that are used to introduce explanations. So this can be a really good way that lecturers signpost or highlight why they're saying certain things. Is that an example supporting their point? Is it an explanation supporting their point? So by recognizing these phrases, it helps you to see exactly what argument the lecturer is making and try to weigh that up. Okay, so the final thing is, of course, for the homework for this task, is you're going to listen to your own 10 or 11 minute lecture. So the suggested lecture is the one from TED.com, which is about the kind of physical nature of the internet. So when you listen to that lecture, you could try using the strategy of prediction. So look at the title of the lecture. What do you think you're going to hear? What can you predict are going to be some of the key ideas or key terms? And then this is also an opportunity, of course, to practice using those strategies of using symbols, using abbreviations when you're note taking, just so you can make lots of notes in the short time. During the kind of the the time when the lecturer's speaking really quickly. Okay, thanks for listening. See you next week.